Hey guys, it's Fury, and while many of you know me as a merchant, I'm also a pretty good theory crafter too. Back in the day when I played Furyion, I actually held an all-world damage record for a mage skill attack. And I held that record for about a year, until I quit. And I wanted to give some of my knowledge to the newer players. Cause, I don't want it to go to waste or anything. So in this guide, we're going to talk about general Celtic heroes knowledge, the 5 classes of Mage, Druid, Warrior, Rogue, and Ranger, and the connections between all 5 of them. For the general Celtic knowledge part, we're going to talk about the stats page, the skills page, the abilities page, some terminology, the damage types and their differences, and efficient leveling. Yes, I know some of this is going to be basic, but there's also lesser known knowledge in here too, so it's important that you listen. On the stats page, strength will increase your damage dealt by physical damage types, and is part of the equation in all warrior and most rogue skill attacks. Dexterity will always increase your attack by 1 and defense by 2 per point, and it's a part of ranger skill attacks and some rogue ones. Focus will increase your energy by 6.25 per point, and is the main factor in damage and healing of mage and druid skills. And vitality will always increase your health by 6.25 per point, and is a factor in your defensive warrior skills and first aid skills like bandage wounds and stuff like that. Health, it's your current over your max, and if it reaches 0, you die. Energy, your current over your max, and it's used for skill attacks. Attack is your chance to hit on auto attacks. Damage is your current maximum damage for auto attacks. Defense is your chance to dodge auto attacks. Armor is your armor rating, or physical resistance in other words. Carried items is your current over your max. If you're over, you can't fast travel anywhere except for the castle without a laystone fragment. Equipped weight. It's the weight of your gear, and it reduces your energy gained by focus, but not from gear. So if you're a warrior, don't wear a 100 focus bracelet to get energy. Wear something that actually gives energy, or else it'll be reduced in effect. Sigils are items that will permanently bind your character, and increase out of combat regen for the specified type. Unspent points. You'll get 5 per level up, and don't forget that you don't get points for being level 1, which means if you're level 200 and use a rebirth book, you only have 995 points, because level 1 won't give you any. It's a little helpful note for you. And no matter what, you have to at least have 5 strength and dex and 10 focus and vit. For the experience bar, it'll show you how close you are to the next level. The orange bar represents 1/10 of the level, and the yellow bar is 1/100th of the level. Your gold is your current gold, and used to buy various things. Platinum is the premium currency which you buy for real money or get through rare means, and it's used to buy stuff from the plat shop. On to the skills page. The skill level is showed as current over maximum, and the current can exceed the maximum with gear, and the maximum gets increased by 5 every 30 levels with few exceptions. The minimum level is 1, and the maximum is 50. There's no skill point given for a level 1, so yeah, if you use an alteration book at 200, you're going to get 199 points. And also keep in mind that everything starts at 1, so if you want to get something to 40, you're only going to need 39 points. More helpful info for you. Ability. The ability which the skill is based off of. If you have a higher ability for the right skill, it'll give a higher chance to hit and a better effect. The stat. What stat the skill is based on. If it's higher, it'll increase in effect, like focus for firebolt and stuff like that. Energy cost is how much energy it uses. Higher level skills will use more. And the skill class is the evasion type that's used to dodge the attack. Think of the ability like attack and the evasion like defense. It works in a similar manner. Permanent skills. Skills that are permanently part of your character. Like if you're a warrior, you're gonna have pummel no matter what. Given skills. Stuff that's obtained by gear and removed when you remove the gear. Like mount skills and stuff like that. Stuff that adds the damage and delay of the equipped weapon. It's skills that will change in speed and damage depending on the weapon you're using. Something like Giant Swing will add more damage and more time based on your weapon, unlike Pummel, which does the same thing no matter what weapon you have in your hand. And not all skills that have this trait listed like that. Like Rupture doesn't say that, but it takes your damage into account. Or Rend or stuff like that. Stuff that's up to a certain level. It'll only work on levels that are at or below a certain level, and some skills will have a partial effect if it's too low. Like double attack will never miss, and it will do twice the damage up to something of a certain level. If it's over, you'll still never miss, but you only do 1 times the damage. Still helpful, but not the full effect. 2 abilities. Your ability level, your current over maximum, and the maximum will increase by 10 per level up. When the numbers are green, it means that they have been raised beyond their normal cap. Weapon ability. It will increase your attack by 1 per point and physical damage slightly when you're using the corresponding weapon type. Like if you have 800 in hand and you put your fists up, and you have 5 dex and no attack gear, you'll have 805 attack. Class ability. Abilities that are used by class-specific skills, and increases chance to hit and effectiveness a little bit for the said skills, like cunning for rogues, melee combat for warriors, stuff like that. And then you got the 5 evasion types. Fortitude, Boarding, Vigor, Willpower, and Reflex. And they all increase their certain type of evasion by 1 every 2 points you have in the ability. Taming ability is the chance to hit and effectiveness of the right pet skill. Riding ability is the chance to hit and effectiveness of the right battle mount skill. Critical Strike increases the chance of a critical and an auto attack, while Critical Skills increases the chance of a critical and skill attacks. Scholar will increase the chance of getting double XP on a kill, and Treasure Hunter will increase the chance of getting double gold on a kill. Resistance. Your armor towards a given resistance. And a little interesting note for you, that armor is just 1 resist, pierce, slash, and crush per point. It's nothing more than that. So sometimes it helps to think of resistances instead of armor. Physical attack evasion is your defense towards instant damage physical skills, like Pummel, Giant Swing, stuff like that. Spell attack evasion is your defense toward instant damage magical skills, like Firebolt, Ice Shard. Wounding attack evasion is towards damage over time skills like Rupture, Vines. Weakening attack evasion is like stat reducing skills like Lures, Shatter. Movement attack evasion is towards stuff that impairs your movement like Freeze, Polish. And the reason I say defense is that it works like defense. Because, chance to miss and whatnot. Rank is your current PvP rank. And it's where your XP goes and it can never fall. Rating is your current PvP rating and it's used to show your recent win-loss record. It can be lost to anyone within 20 levels of you, and it can be gained from anyone within 20 levels of you or over. Fishing is like your weapon ability for fishing. It doesn't increase damage but increases chance to hit. Fishing power is your damage for fishing, and concentration is your health for fishing. Proficiency determines the ease of cooking food. Easy food will cook faster and have a chance of becoming perfected food. And when I say easy food, I mean the fast cooking animation when you have enough proficiency to do it. Mastery is a chance of cooking food better than usual, like exquisite or perfected. On the terminology, DOT stands for damage over time, and it's usually referring to an attack. It is an effect. AoE is area of effect, and it's used to describe skills which hit over an area. Regen is regeneration of health or energy over time. Tick is a 5-second interval used by the game to count regens and DOTs. There's very few exceptions to the 5-second rule, and one of them is rend because it was buffed to go faster. Out of combat is any time that you're not in combat, more than 5 seconds away from combat. If you're in a duel, attacking, attacked, or healing someone who is in combat, you will be in combat mode. Natural regen. 4 health and energy regen out of combat per tick. You don't have to do anything to get it, everyone gets this. Sigil. It increases your natural regen by the number of sigils you have. Aggro. It's the enemy's willingness to target you, and if no other players are present, it will always target you. Aggro range. The range you have to be from enemies for them to attack you. Being a higher level than the enemy or having camouflage will reduce this distance, unless they see through camouflage or invisibility. Few enemies do, but it's a good note. Reset range is the range the enemy will follow you before resetting, and a reset is when an enemy or boss runs back to its spawn point and regains full health. An effect is any buff or debuff that is currently applied to you or the enemy. A buff is something that is positively affecting you or an enemy, and a debuff is something that is negatively affecting you or an enemy. Resisted. It means one of two things. It means you used a skill but it didn't work fully, like a skewer that's underleveled. Or it means you applied an effect while a higher priority one was already in effect, which wastes the skill altogether. And when something says evaded, it's just a fancy way of saying you missed. Now, we're going to talk about priority. It's very important. It determines what happens when conflicting skills are used. Usually, they're DOTs, buffs, debuffs, or flights. If the skills in question are the same, this is what will happen. If your skill's a higher level, it'll apply normally and cancel theirs out. If your skill is the same level, it'll apply normally and cancel theirs out. But if your skill is a lower level, they'll resist and nothing will happen, even if your skill is stronger than theirs. So say you have a level 49 Ice Lore, and you have really high focus and ice magic, and the person who has level 50 Ice Lore and he's full Vit, that'll take effect over yours even though it's less effective. There's also incompatible skills like Frenzy and Protective Stance, Ice and Fire Attunement, stuff like that. And quick swapping rings can also cause this, like if you cast a level 14 Protective Stance and then cast a level 10, you'll get resisted. Skill bonuses is something that adds skill levels from gear, like Firebolt plus 6 or something like that. Direct skill bonus is something that adds a flat number to a skill, like Pummel plus 300. Set bonus is the effect from wearing the questline armors as full sets, like Exalted Dragonlord Aura. Quick swapping is when you switch out gear for a situational advantage, like using lure rings and then switching to something damage based. Initial damage is the first hit of an attack that does more than the rest of it, like Rupture or Frostbite. Backlash damage is effects that will deal damage when auto attacked. Riposte, Fire Cloak, you name it. RCT stands for reduced cooldown time and it does not change cast time. Very important difference. Damage fluctuation. Damage doesn't actually do the amount listed. If the resistances are accounted for, a percentage of that damage is applied, usually 60 to 100%. Damage difference on level. Damage is reduced on enemies over your level. This isn't applied in duels though. So, if you're like level 80 and you have 1200 damage, and you hit a goal and it's 120, you're only going to do like 8 damage or something ridiculously low like that. Plateau is the term used for diminishing returns found in stats and abilities. It's usually referring to stat or abilities increase the skills like focus ice magic, or strengths increase the physical damage. And then there's also the attack defense semi-plateau, which is my observation of the moving diminishing returns regarding attack and defense. There's no point to overkill attack or defense if the target will hit or miss 95% of the time. So if you're fighting like a level 1, what's the difference between 100 attack and 1000 attack? Not much, right? So as you increase the level on that example, you get a similar effect. Now we're going to talk about the damage types and their differences. We got the physical damage types Pierce, Slash, and Crush, which is affected by strength and current equipped weapon ability. Now, say you got like a 3 Crush bracelet, it's going to do a lot more than that, like 10 or 20, sometimes even 30 if you're good enough. Then we got the elemental damage types like Fire, Ice, and Magic, and they do flat damage. Only amount listed, so if you have a 3 fire bracelet, it's going to do 3 fire. Now we got poison damage, which is also a flat type of damage, but it's usually not resisted. Divine damage is also another type of flat damage, and it's unresistible to enemies with the chaos effect active, and it's useless to anything else. And it's part of the damage on your stats page. So if you have a full set of Frozen, it's going to say that you do 100 more damage, but you really don't, because that 100 damage only works on chaos enemies. So be sure to take that into account. And we got unresistible damage too, which is a flat damage, but it's truly unresistible to anything. And it's a very rare form of damage. It's only on Rupture's damage over time, Stinging Swarm, and it's also on the Ruby Skull Fire Pendant's Backlash. There may be some more, but not that I know of. And we're going to talk about efficient leveling. If you're low on funds, always put gear before fashion unless it's making you money. Spend on the most gold efficient gear first. Use your XP elixir before you kill the enemy, not before the fight. Because what's the point of elixing and then fighting the enemy, because you're going to lose some precious time there. Remember, the developers made AoEs for a reason. You can lure enemies close to each other and get double kills and stuff like that if you're creative. DOT should only be used on enemies with high or full health, or bosses. If you use it on something that's near death, you're only going to waste the damage of that skill. And range is useful. Melee enemies have to run to you to attack. So run away, and you can increase the distance between you and reduce the damage you take. Vitality should only be as high as you need it to survive. Any extra health is just merely wasting your damage potential. And remember, offense is a good defense in this game. If you kill something faster, you're going to also take less damage, because you're going to make the fight shorter. Therefore, you're going to get hit less, and you're going to get more XP per licks. Good stuff. And if you don't have base vitality, you can use Vit Gear and rebirth the points out of Vit into your favorite stats if the Vit Gear has more points. So if you have something that has 100 Vit, or something that has 50 strength, what should you wear? Well, even if you want to have more strength, it would be wise to rebirth Vit out and put it in strength, and then wear the Vit bracelet and you get 100 strength instead. Smart stuff. And if you have a high level level, It'll greatly increase your XP per licks, especially if they have Fire Cloak or a damage buff like Poison Weapon or something. Don't use elixirs you don't need to, save your money. Like, do you really need defense elixirs to level up? Save your money when you can. And keep an eye out in every direction and remember spawns. So if you killed something like 5 minutes ago, know that if you're going to stick around that area, you might have to deal with that soon. And know your limits. Don't fight unwinnable battles. And try to aim for low stars if you can, because they're quicker to kill.